think this is where I ended. Yeah. Just double checking. Quinta. Okay. Yeah, here's where I am. Let me just refresh the YouTube page. I'm going to be making sure that this goes up on my YouTube. I have my PC up. Audio real quick. Come on, pop up already. Fresh. Not letting for some reason. Okay. This is weird. So. Okay, now it's just not loading anything. There we go. Got it. Okay. Alright, let's turn off the audio. That's about it. Hold on a sec. Because I'm going to be keeping an eye on these now on. In case anything goes wrong. It's not my video from to 22 minutes. I to keep my eye on this as well. So I will definitely be watching my own stream so that it doesn't cut me off. Alright, so and account of the Valar and the Maiar, according to the lore of the Eldar. So, pronounce a couple of these, like, wrong. Pronouncing Eluvar. I didn't think, but that character, the god of this world. So, I'll have that up. I will see the chat. Though, faint because I have my glasses off. I use I'm not used to it. Alright. Yeah, so, just be blurry. So let's get into this. In the beginning, Aru, the One. Once again, I hope I'm pronouncing these right. Or good enough for you guys. Who in the Elvish tongue is named Ilúvatar, made the Ainur of his thought, and they made a great music before him. In this music the world was begun, for Ilúvatar made visible the song of the Ainur. And they beheld it as a light in the darkness, and many among them became enamored of its beauty, and of its history which they saw beginning and unfolding as in a vision. Therefore Ilúvatar gave to their vision being, and set it amid the void, and the secret fire was sent to burn at the heart of the world. And it was called A. Then those of the Ainur who desired it arose, entered into the world at the beginning of time. It was their task to achieve it, and by their labor fulfill the vision which they had seen. Long they labored in the regions of A, which are vast beyond the thought of elves, men, and men, until in the time appointed was made Arda, the kingdom of earth, and they put on the raiment of earth, and descended into it, and dwelt therein, of the Valar. Right among these spirits, the elves named the Valar of Arda, and often called them gods. The lords of the Valar are 7, and the valley queens of the Valar are 7 also. These were their names in the Elven tongue, as it was spoken in Valinor, though they have other names in the speech of the elves of Middle-earth, and their names among men are manifold. The names of the lords in due order are Manwe, Ale, Ule, Aromi, I'm gonna get these wrong, Andos, Lorien, and Polkus. And the names of the queens are Varda, Yavanna, Neana, Verne, Nirvana, and Nessa. Melkor is counted no longer among the Valar, and his name is not spoken upon earth. Manwë and Melkor were brethren in the thought of Ilúvatar. The mightiest of those Ainur who came into the world was in his beginning Melkor, but Manwë is dearest to Ilúvatar, and understands most clearly his purposes. He was appointed to be, in the fullness of time, the first of all kings, lord of the realm of Arda, and ruler of all that dwell therein, in Arda. His delight is in the winds and the clouds, and in all the regions of the air, from the heights to the depths, from the utmost borders of the vale of Arda, to the breezes that blow in the grass. Sulimo he is surnamed, Lord of the Breath. Wing he loves, and they come and go at his bidding. With Manwë dwells Varda, Lady of the Stars, who knows all the regions of Ai. Too great is her beauty, declared in the word men or elves, for the light of Ilúvatar lives still in her face. The light is her power and her joy. Out of the deeps of Ai she came to the aid of Manwë, for Melkor she knew from before the making of the music, and rejected him, and he hated her, and feared her more than all others whom Aru made. Manwë and Varda are seldom parted, and they remained in Valinor. Their halls are above the everlasting snow upon Olusa, the utmost tower of the Tranquil, tallest of all the mountains upon earth. When Manwë there ascends his throne and looks forth. What happened? Oh, okay. Something popped up on my screen. Let's make this there we go, so we can keep watching. Utmost tower, okay. Tallest mountains of all the mountains upon earth. When Manwë there ascends his throne, and if Varda is beside him, he sees further than all other eyes, through and through darkness, the leagues of the sea, and if Manwë is with her, Varda hears clearer than all other ears the sound of voices, cry from east to west, from the and the valleys, and from dark places Melkor has made upon earth, of all the great ones who dwell in the world, the elves hold Varda most in reverence and love. Elspeth they name her, and they call upon her out of the shadows of Middle-earth, and uplift it in song at the rising of the stars. Ulmo is the Lord of Waters. He is alone. He dwells nowhere long, but moves as he will in all the deep waters about the earth or under the earth. He is next in might to Manwë, and before Valinor was made he was closest to him. But thereafter he went to the councils of the Valar, unless great matters were in debate, where he kept all Arda in thought, and he has no need of any resting place. Moreover, he does not love to walk upon land, and will seldom clothe himself in a body the manner of his peers. If the children of Aru beheld him, they were filled with a great dread, for the rising of the King of the Sea was terrible, as a mounting wave that strides to the land, with dark helm foam crested, and remnant of mail shimmering from silver down into shadows of green. The trumpets of Manwë are loud, but Ulmo's voice is deep as the deeps of the ocean, which he only has seen. None the less, Ulmo loves both elves and men, and never abandoned them, not even when they lay under the wrath of the Valar. At times he will come unseen to the shores of Middle-earth, or pass far inland up firths of the sea, and there make music upon his great horns, the Almori, that are wrought of white shell, and those to whom that music comes hear it ever after in their hearts, and longing for the sea never leaves them again. But mostly Ulmo speaks to those who dwell in Middle-earth, with voices that are heard only as the music of water, for all seas, lakes, rivers, fountains, and springs are in his government, so that the elves say that the spirit of Ulmo runs in all the veins of the world. Thus news comes to Ulmo even in the deeps of all the needs and griefs of Arda, which otherwise would be hidden from Manwë. Allu has might little less than Ulmo. His lordship is over all the substances of which Arda is made. In the beginning he wrought much in fellowship with Manwë and Ulmo, and the fashioning of all lands was his labor. He is a smith and a master of all crafts, and he delights in works of skill, however small. As much as in the mighty building of old, his are the gems that lie deep in the earth, and the gold that is fair in the hand, and no less than the walls of the mountains and the basins of the sea. The Noldor learned most of him, and he was ever their friend. Melkor was jealous of him, for Allu was most like himself in thought and in powers, and there was long strife between them, in which Melkor ever marred or undid the works of Elli. Allay, trying to, I think it's Allay, grew weary in repairing the tumult. Both also desired to make things of their own that should be new and unthought of by others, and delighted in the praise of their skill. But Allay remained faithful to Eru, and submitted all that he did to his will, and he did not envy the works of others, but sought and gave counsel, whereas Melkor spent his spirit in envy and hate, until at last he could make nothing save in mockery of the thought of others, and all their works he destroyed if he could. The spouse of Alé is Yavanna, the giver of fruits. She is the lover of all things that grow in the earth, and all their countless forms she holds in her mind, from the trees like towers and forests long ago, to the moss upon stones, or the small and secret things in the mold. In reverence, Yavanna is next to Varda among the queens of the Valar. In the form of a woman she is tall and robed in green, but at times she takes other shapes. Some there are who have seen her standing like a tree under heaven, crowned with the sun, and from all its branches there spilled a golden dew upon the barren earth, and it grew green with corn, but the roots of the tree were in the waters, and the winds of Manwë spoke in its leaves. Kemetari, queen of the earth, she is surnamed in the Eldarin tongue. The Faintori, masters of spirits, are brethren, and they are called most often Mandos and Lorien. Yet these are rightly the names of the places of their dwelling, and their true names are Nemo and Urmo. Nemo the elder dwells in Mandos, which is westward in Valinor. He is the keeper of the houses of the dead, and the summoner of spirits of the slain. He forgets nothing, and he knows all things that shall be, save only those that live in the freedom of Ilúvatar. He is the doomsman of the Valar, but he pronounces his dooms and his judgments only at the bidding of Manwë. Vere, the weaver, is his spouse, who weaves all things that have ever been in time into her storied webs, and the halls of Mandos, that ever widen as the ages pass, are clothed with them. Urmo the younger is the master of visions and dreams. In Lorien are his gardens, in the land of the Valar, and they are the fairest of all places in the world, filled with many spirits. Aste, the gentle healer of hurts and of weariness, is his spouse. Grey is her raiment, and rest is her gift. She walks not by day, but sleeps upon an island in the tree-shadowed lake of Silmarillion. From the fountains of Urmo and Aste, all those who dwell in Valinor draw refreshment, and often the Valar come themselves to Lorien, and there find repose and easing of the burden of Arda. Mightier than Aste is Nina, sister of the Faintori. She dwells alone. She is accounted with grief, and mourns for every wound that Arda has suffered in the marrying of Melkor. So great was her sorrow as the music unfolded, that her song turned to lamentation long before its end, and the sound of mourning was woven into the themes of the world before it began. But she does not weep for herself, and those who hearken to her learn pity and endurance and hope. Her halls are west of west, upon the borders of the world, and she comes seldom to the city of Valimar, where all is glad. She goes rather to the halls of Mandos, where near to her own. And all those who wait in Mandos cry to her, for she brings strength to the spirit and turns sorrow to wisdom. The windows of her house look outward from the walls of the world. Greatest in strength and deeds of prowess is Tolkien, who is surnamed Astaldo the Valiant. He came last to Arda to aid the Valar in the first battles with Melkor. He delights in wrestling and in contests of strength, and he rides no steed, for he can outrun all things that go on feet, and he is tireless. His hair and beard are golden, and his flesh ruddy. His weapons are his hands. He has little heed for either the past or the future, and is of no avail as a counselor. But he is a hearty friend. His spouse is Nessa, the sister of Orome, and she also is Lith. Deer she loves, and they follow her train whenever she goes in the wild. But she can outrun them, swift as an arrow, with the wind in her hair. In dancing she delights, and she dances in Valimar, on lawns of never-fading green. Orome is a mighty lord. If he is less strong than Tolkien, he is more dreadful in anger, whereas Tolkien laughs ever in sport or in war. And even in the face of Melkor, he laughed in battles before the elves were born. Orome loved the lands of Middle-earth, and he left them unwillingly, and came last to Valinor. And often of old he passed back east over the mountains, and returned with his host to the hills and the plains. He is the hunter of monsters and fell beasts, and he delights in horses and in hounds, and all trees he loves, for which reason he is Alderaan, not planet. And by the Sindar Taran, Lord of Forests, Nahar is the name of his horse, white in the sun and shining silver at night. The Valaroma is the name of his great horn, the sound of which is like the upgoing of the sun in scarlet, or the sheer lightning cleaving the clouds above all the horns of the host. It was heard in the woods that Yavanna brought forth in Valinor, for there Orome would train his folk and his beasts for the pursuit of the evil creatures of Melkor. The spouse of Orome is Vanna, the ever young. She is the younger sister of Yavanna. All flowers spring as she passes, and open if she glances upon them, and all birds sing at her coming. These are the names of the Valar and the Valar, and here is told in brief their likenesses, such as beheld them in Aman, but fair and noble as were the forms in which they were manifest to the children of Ilúvatar. They were but a veil upon their beauty and their power, and if little is here said of all that the Eldar once knew, that is nothing compared with their true being, which goes back into regions and ages far beyond our thought. Among them 9 were of chief power and reverence, but one is removed from their number, and 8 remain. The Aratar, the high ones of Arda, Manwe, and Varda, Ulmo, Yavanna, and Ale, Mandos, Niana, and Arome, though Manwe is their king, and holds their allegiance under Aru. In majesty they are peers, surpassing beyond compare all others, whether of the Valar and the Maiar, or of any other order that Iluvatar has sent into A. Of the Maiar. Let's move on to that once I just make sure everything's fine. Looks like everything is fine. Okay. Oh. There. Okay. Let's change the viewpoint so that we have a different kind of view and background now. Let's ding. There you go. I like to use the backgrounds and sound design of some of the games I have up to kind of give like a atmospheric feel, but and I think Elden Ring works for most fantasies. Alright, let's move on to the Maiar. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing names so wrong, because I'm a dumbass. I know some of the names, I don't know all of the names very well, or their pronunciations, but I know enough. I think when it comes to Lord of the Rings, I'll know way more there, because, like, of course I know that much better than I do, these, godlike beings in this biblical-like book. This very much sounds like, the Bible. It's like, it kinda... Yeah, it's very interesting, though, in how he did it and his influences, Tolkien. Alright. What is going on? Is that just the sound? Okay, I thought I was missing some sound or something. Weird. Alright, moving on. Okay. With the Valar came the other spirits, whose being also began, before the world of the same order as the Valar, but of the less degree. These are the Maiar, the people of the Valar, and their servants and helpers. Their number is not known to the elves, and few have names in any of the tongues of the children of Iluvatar. For though it is otherwise in Aman, in Middle-earth the Maiar have seldom appeared in from form visible to elves and men. Chief among the Maiar of Valinor, whose names are remembered in the histories of the elder days, are Ilmare, the handmaid of Varda, and Onwe, the banner bearer and herald of Manwe, whose might in arms is surpassed by none in Arda. But of all the Maiar, Ose and Unin are best known to the children of the Iluvatar. Ose is a vessel of Elmo, and he is master of the seas that wash the shores of Middle-earth. He does not go in the deeps, but loves the coasts and the isles, and rejoices in the winds of Manwe. For in storm and delight he delights, and laughs amid the roaring of the waves. His spouse is Unin, the Lady of the Seas, whose hair lies spread through all waters under sky. All creatures she loves that live in salt streams, and all weeds that grow there. To her mariners cry, for she can lay calm upon the wilderness of Osei. The Númenóreans lived long in her protection, and held her in reverence equal to the Valar. Melkor hated the sea, for he could not subdue it. It is said that in the making of Arda, he endeavored to draw Osei to his allegiance, promising to him all the realm and power of Ulmo, if he would serve him. So it was that long ago there arose great tumults in the sea, that wrought ruin to the lands, but Unen, at the prayer of Alé, restrained Osei and brought him before Ulmo, and he was pardoned and returned to his allegiance, to which he has remained faithful for the most part, for the delight in violence has never wholly departed from him, and at times he will rage in his wilfulness. Without... Oh. Thought I heard voices. Huh. Where was I? Okay, times we will rage in his willfulness, without any commands from Ulmo his lord. Therefore those who dwell by the sea, or go up in ships, may love him, but they do not trust him. Melaine was the name of a Maya, who served both Vinay and Esta. She dwelt long in Lorien, tending the trees that flower in the gardens of Urmo. Ere she came to Middle-earth, nightingales... Uh-oh. That pop-up just happened. Nightingales sang about her wherever she went. Yeah, it just popped up. I gotta make sure that that's not what's making my stream like crash or cut. Let me just double check. So I'm gonna look. I should have here's what I'm gonna do. Going to open another tab and look at, check on the page itself. It looks like it's fine so far. Let's just refresh. Yeah, it looks like it's fine so far. Those little torches of fire will let me know if it like freezes or anything or stops. So I'll keep an eye on those, and I'll also keep an eye on my main page. Okay. I hope the audio is fine. I hope there's not really any breathing. This isn't meant to be a perfect read-along, because, you know, I'm going to mess up names for sure. Alright, so I was at the Nightingales. Yeah, right there. Wisest of the Maiar was Olorin. He too dwelt in Lorien, but his ways took him often to the house of Nena, and of her he learned pity and patience. Of Melaine much is told in the Quenta Silmarillion, but of the Olorin that tale does not speak, for though he loved the elves, he walked among them unseen or in form as one of them, and they did not know whence came the fair visions of the promptings of wisdom that he put into their hearts, In later days he was the friend of all the children of Iluvatar, and took pity on their sorrows, and those who listened to him awoke from despair, and put away the imaginations of darkness of the enemies. Alright. Looking good. Okay, good. Things are working out. I will probably notice if something goes wrong, though, because I am keeping a close eye this time. If I see it published for whatever reason on my channel, then I will know to stop. This is why I am doing what I am doing, because my read-along of Dragons of Del Tora got completely screwed over because of that. Alright, good. Okay. Wish I could see the time thing, but whatever. Maybe I should put that up, but that thing's so distracting and takes up most of the screen. That's my problem with that. But it would help me keep a better eye on things. But it would also mean that I could see people's messages, too. Alright. Last of all the said of the name of Melkor, he who arises in might, but that name he has forfeited, and the Noldor, who among the elves suffered most from his malice, will not utter it, and they name him Morgoth, the dark enemy of the world. Great might was given to him by Iluvatar, and he was coeval with Manwë in the powers and knowledge of all the other Valar. He had part, but he turned them to evil purposes, and squandered his might in violence and tyranny. For he coveted Arda and all that was in it, desiring the kingship of Manwë, and dominion over the realms of his peers. From splendor he fell through arrogance to contempt for all things save himself, a spirit wasteful and pitiless. Understanding he turned to subtlety in perverting to his own will all that he would use, until he became a liar without shame. He began with the desire of light, but when he could not possess it for himself alone, he descended through fire and wrath into great burning, down into darkness, and darkness he used most in his evil works upon Arda, and filled it with the fear for all living things. Yet so great was the power of his uprising that in ages forgotten he contended with Manwë and all the Valar, and through long years in Arda held dominion over most of the lands of the earth. But he was not alone, for of the Maiar were drawn to his splendor in the days of his greatness, and remained in that allegiance down into the darkness, and others he corrupted afterwards to his service with lies and treacherous gifts. Dreadful among these spirits were the Valarakar, the scourges of fire that in Middle-earth were called the Balrogs, demons of terror. Among those of his servants that have names, the greatest was that spirit whom the Eldar called Sauron, or Gorthar the Cruel. In his beginning he was of the Maiar of Elu, and he remained mighty in the lore of the people, in all the deeds of Melkor the Morgoth upon Arda. In his vast works and in the deceits of his cunning, Sauron had a part, and was only less evil than his master, and that for long he served another, and not himself. But in after years he rose like a shadow of Morgoth, and a ghost of his malice, and walked behind him on the same ruinous path down into the void. Here ends the Vala Quenta. Next is Quenta Silmarillion, the history of the Silmarils. Chapter 1 of the Beginning Days. Alright. I found a different name for Sauron too when I was looking stuff on him up. But it's Gorthar so far. Gorthar the Cruel. And it seemed like Sauron was part of his master's evil, but he served another, not himself. But he did later become his own kind of dark leader. Alright. This is actually not like, okay, that's index names. Yep. Okay. Vowels. I don't think I read that though, but I can go through that. So, this is not... Okay. Alright. Let's just check on the recording again. I got through that. That's good. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will keep going. Or maybe I should stop it here and then start the next one. Maybe that'll be better for you guys. Yeah, let's do that so that it'll actually save. Alright. See you guys on the next video.